Oh, it's that time of the week again. The Xbox 2 podcast. Man, I already am fumbling my words. So this is going to be an interesting show. We are live finally. Sorry for a little bit of delay. Me and Jez had an interesting discussion before the show. Too bad we can't share it though. Anyways, I'm one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, and with me as always, Jez Corden, the one that makes the Xbox 2 go. Without him, there'd be no show. What's going on, Jez?
I'm good, man. I'm pretty good. I'm wired. I've had so much coffee today. You have no idea. So if I ramble, that's why. Just throwing it out there.
Well,
How are you?
an energetic and rambling Jez is definitely better than a sleepy and tired Jez.
That is true. I mean, what can you do, man? That's why coffee exists. God bless coffee. It is a great invention.
I've never had coffee before.
What?
No, like
You are
like,
not serious right
I'm
now.
dead serious. I'm
You are
dead.
not serious right now.
I'm never
Never
had
had coffee?
I never had coffee. I always would have Mountain Dew. Like that was my coffee. Like when I go in the early morning when I worked construction, I would stop at like the nearest White Hen or 7-Eleven and I would just grab like a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and that was my coffee.
My, I'm so confused right now.
I know.
Never
I know.
had coffee? What
Yeah.
the hell? You're American as well.
I don't know. I mean I've tasted coffee. I don't really like the taste, but like
My
it's never
God.
done anything for me. I was always more Mountain Dew type of person. I don't drink Mountain Dew anymore, but yeah.
I'm stunned. I am stunned.
How's that to start the show?
Interesting. Interesting stuff. Yeah, man. How are you doing? Other than not drinking any coffee because you're pretty weird, frankly.
I'm doing I'm doing okay. Um, for the most part. Can't wait to play God of War tonight.
All right. Yeah,
In
that's today, right?
yeah, in 8 hours. I've been playing once again PUBG. Like, for whatever reason, I can't get off that game. But God of
How
War
many
will kick.
times have you quit, quote unquote, quit?
Dude, it is what it is at this point. I blame my friends. They pull me back in. And I don't want to play, but then they're like, "Come on, Rand, just one game. Come on, one chicken dinner." And yeah, this show is normally Wednesdays, pixelated, but Jess had a prior engagement, which is why we are doing it today. But normally it is on Wednesdays. How are you
Yes.
doing,
Normally
Jazz?
Wednesday. I'm good, man. I'm wired. You already asked me.
That is true.
Maybe you're wired. Have you been drinking energy drinks or Mountain Dew?
I don't drink energy drinks.
Uh-huh.
I've had water with fruit punch. It's like
Oh,
little sprinkle you put in there and you turn it to fruit punch. So that's what I've been drinking.
that's strange. You're a
Um,
strange guy, man.
I am very strange. This isn't the first time I've heard this. So,
Okay, what have you been playing this week?
well, you know what? There is a serious situation that we should address before
Oh,
we get
yeah.
into the rest of the show because honestly, this is more important than video games and talking about them. If you guys don't know, Xbox Addict, he passed away the other day, and the Xbox community is in mourning. A lot of people, are changing their profile pics to his and to show honor and respect for what Addict stood for. And it's very, very sad situation. Honestly, I remember when I found out about it, I couldn't believe it myself. He was
I
such
was
a.
shocked.
I was completely shocked.
It was
But
so sudden. Like, I just remember, like, I think it was his mom tweeted on his account saying that he was taken ill, and then like, not even 2 days later, I think they were saying that he had passed away in the ICU. It's just total shock, and it's just crazy, man. It's been a crazy
yeah,
couple of days.
I mean,
That's
I didn't know him very well. I had a couple interactions with him. He's always a cool dude with me. But you knew him pretty well. You talked to him like every week, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talk quite frequently, just about random things, gaming. It was always like very sort of pragmatic sort of guy. Like he always saw everyone's point of view, and like he was the Xbox addict, right? He had the probably the world's biggest Xbox collection. But I mean, a lot of people don't know that he also collected PlayStation and Nintendo stuff too. And he had like he's got a sizable like especially Nintendo collection, I believe. And he was just a true gamer through and through, true gamer. He loved gaming, and it just so happens that his central passion was Xbox, you know. And he was really into picking up those consoles that were limited edition, which they often showed them at like PAX and stuff, and maybe they'd do a giveaway there, and he'd speak to the winners and pick them up, and he just amassed this amazing collection of memorabilia and stuff. And there's like a few of the stuff from his videos. I mean, you can check out his videos on his Twitter; they're still up with his collection. Just this amazing collection of like classic memorabilia, right from like the very first Xbox, you know. And it inspired me to start picking up some of the some of the same stuff as well. And I bought like that Xbox Live neon sign, which Microsoft sent out to press for the first Xbox. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen
It's
it.
like
Yeah.
it's really awesome. And like it came with a VHS tape and stuff like that. And I was like messaging him like, "Oh wow, I'm trying to be like you now." You know? But he was just an amazing guy, just a really amazing guy. And his family has set up a GoFundMe page on which I think you've linked in the description, right?
Yeah, yeah. So if anybody wants to help out in any way, I have the link to the GoFundMe to help out Addict's family with final costs and things of that nature. It's in the description of the video. If anybody wants to donate, any small amount of money, $1, $20 or whatever. But it's been very, it's been very warming to see the reaction from the community, though. I will say.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out like we often talk, especially the press and all that stuff. The press loves to focus on the negative aspects of the gaming community. They love to focus on the toxicity and stuff like that. And to be fair, it's I'm not saying it's not an issue, but it's not often that we hear stories about positivity in the community. It's not often we hear stories about people coming together and the different like little communities that are scattered around the internet. And the Xbox Twitter community is like really tightly knit, really passionate about gaming, and the way they've all been changing their Twitter profile pictures to match Xbox Addict's picture, which has just been amazing. And Phil Spencer too, and a bunch of people at Xbox, and even some game studios were from games that Addict loved have been tweeting about him too. So he definitely like had a lot of respect in the community, a lot of love from a lot of people, and he was a veteran too. In Iraq, he sustained severe injuries in Iraq, and I believe part of those injuries is what led to the complications that led to him passing away. So, just he was just always. I was going through my DMs with him. He was always just offering help in some way, offering support in some way. Because sometimes I get emo on Twitter and I tweet things out like about how stressed I am and stuff like that, and he'd always send me a message saying, I'm here if you want to talk and stuff like that. It's just a really great guy.
Yeah.
So it's just.
It makes me sad that I didn't get to know him better. I mean, I had a couple interactions with him, and I met him at E3 in 2016. But it's one of those things. It's like you never know what's going to happen. So if you got something to say, if you want to meet somebody, want to talk to somebody, now's the time. Not putting it off and waiting because you never know what's going to happen down the road. So you'll be missed, Addict, and yeah, I don't know. You have anything else you want to say before we
Nah, just if you've got anything to donate, just hit that GoFundMe page because significant medical costs. He suffered from paraplegia and he's got little kids and a wife too. And so if anyone can help out, that'd be amazing. But yeah, he'd want us to game on, man.
Yep. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of topics. Xbox released their plans for E3, so we're going to talk about that as well as the leak that supposed like everybody is like hitting me up about it. Is it true? Is it fake? And this leak has been around for like days now, and me and Jez we're going to go over it and give our thoughts on it. Uh, what else? Oh, the no single player in Call of Duty. I
Ooh.
mean, me and Jez were going back and forth about this on Twitter the other day. But I have some strong opinions on this one,
Oh.
so it'll be interesting subject to to discuss, as well as Phil Spencer. He replied to Ryan McCaffrey about the state of the Xbox first party,
Yep.
and we'll discuss that among a whole bunch of other things. And yeah, so let's get into it, shall we? So we're gonna talk about what we've been playing, as we always do in the beginning. And as usual, Jez, what have you been up to?
Guess.
What have you been playing?
Have a guess. Have a guess.
Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
Jez's game of the year for 2018 confirmed.
They added a new boss yesterday out of the blue. They announced it like 2 days ago. By the way, here's a giant golden dragon that 16 players can take on. And all new equipment, all new cosmetic items, and new weapons and stuff like that. It's just like out of the blue. This game, like every time I think I'm nearing the end of this game, no, there's something more to do. There's something extra being added. It's incredible, man. And the new boss is absolutely stunning. It's like a siege mode. You go through this huge like cavern, and all the different players and teams take part in the same siege, although you're in your sort of own instant. And it's like Team B broke this part off, and Team A broke this part off. And it's like the better all the different teams do that are working together, the better the rewards at the end. And the boss is super hard. Like, we were playing with people who are hunter rank well over 100 with really amazing gear. And, we died multiple times trying to kill this boss this morning on stream, and we did get it in the end. And it's just so epic. So, and I tell you, Rand, I look at a game like Monster Hunter World, which is already like so rich in depth, complexity, several large maps, all these different creatures, monsters, can even like go around capturing the little insects and stuff on the floor. And they're getting into a flow now of like having a game as a service, update.
Mm-hmm.
Every time it feels like I could start completing this game, they dump new content into it, and like not a little bit of new content, quite a lot of new content. So I look at this, and then I look at games like Sea of Thieves, and then some other service-driven games, even like Destiny 2, and it's like, man, what are these games doing? And Sea of Thieves get to this level? Destiny 2 has had 6 months to get to this level, and they haven't. So Capcom are killing it right now. I'm so impressed with them.
Well, I mean, Monster Hunter World was their best-selling game of all time.
Yeah.
It did it in a short amount of time, too. It wasn't like, it took a year or 2 years to do it. Like, it took like 3 months.
Incredible stuff. And I think that's pretty much it, man. I don't think I've been playing anything else except Monster Hunter. Oh, no, I did go back to the Division, but I started over from the beginning because they updated it for the Xbox One X, and I figured I haven't played the Division for 2 years. Time to go back and find out what's new. So I'll be playing that a bit and probably give my thoughts on that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, people say that the Division now, after a couple of years, is actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's Ubisoft too. Ubisoft have been doing a really great job supporting their live services. Like, Rainbow Six Siege wasn't that well received at launch, but now it's like got dedicated servers, and it's got loads of content, and really active community. For Honor as well is getting better. Just got a new training mode to really go over the mechanics in depth and help people learn to play.
You would think they would have included a training mode when the game first came out, right?
It had a training mode, but it wasn't really good enough to prepare you for PvP and all the nuance in PvP and how people fight in PvP. So, like, yeah, it taught you the controls and stuff. It didn't really teach you the nuances. And I think that's what they've kind of gone and done and funnily enough, Rand, I think, wasn't it Studio Gobo?
Yep, Studio Gobo. Yeah, they one of their partnerships was revealed, and they're working on some form of dev on For Honor.
Yeah.
Who knows what? But you're right, dude. Ubisoft is killing it from Rainbow Six Siege and the fact that it's what 3 years old almost, one of the
Yeah.
most played games in the world. You have the recently released Far Cry 5, which is like the fastest selling Far Cry ever. You have Division 2 years later. You have Ghost Recon, which just started up its second year with like Sam Fisher. Um, you have the Crew 2 coming out in a couple months. You know, you
Even
have
Even Steep is getting updates. Like a snowboarding game that nobody played.
yeah.
Even that's getting updates.
I mean, they're
Like,
they're doing big things, so it'd be interesting to see like what like Watch Dogs 3, you know, whenever that gets announced, or the next Assassin's
that
Creed.
got leaked, right? Watch Dogs 3.
Yeah, they've been kind of teasing it, you know.
Yeah.
We forgot to even mention Assassin's Creed Origins kind of brought the franchise back after its tumultuous Unity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so they're like setting the bar right now. They're kind of like the publisher you kind of want to emulate when it
Yeah.
comes to
I
you know,
mean, they're still not perfect, you know, they're still everyone still hates Uplay, and the DRM that they put on their PC games really lags the games out. And you know, they they still do some of those publishery things like sneaking microtransactions in. You know, nobody's perfect, but they've been doing so much better than EA, so much better than Activision, and frankly, Microsoft Studios are really supporting their live service games and you know building up that quality. Like people were begging for a Killer Instinct character training mode the whole time Killer Instinct was live. People were like, "We want training mode that includes characters other than Jago." Microsoft never delivered. They never delivered. And that Killer Instinct desperately needed one because every single character in Killer Instinct has very, very unique mechanics. It's not like you can just learn Jago and then pick up Hisako. You know, you can't do that. So like the fact that they never added a training mode probably really hurt that game. You know, so
yeah, I'm talking third party. Like I kind of just like you can compare the first parties to the first parties and the third party to the third party. Like Ubisoft is kind
yeah,
of the king
yeah. I
of that
mean,
because like EA, I mean everybody hates EA at this point, right? Like they're apologizing, like we'll do better next time, gamers. And no, I don't believe them. Do you believe them? Do you believe them when they say
no,
that they
I
learned and
published an article today about that very topic because I mean this is a topic right now because Patrick Soderlund, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but he's the new design chief of EA and he's a veteran EA executive. So he's been there throughout all the crap they've done over the last decade. He was there the whole time, you know, and they gave an interview with The Verge after their earnings call, and they were like, "Yeah, we know the loot boxes were bad. Yeah, we know we've got to do better." They've been saying this for years. They said it after SimCity. They said it after Visceral shut down. They said it, you know, they said it to Ryan McCaffrey in the IGN interview. They said we need to do better. We need to put players first. Before Patrick Moore left. That was 2016. I was saying it in 2016, and then they delivered Battlefront 2, and they did that after the beta, where everyone was saying in the beta, "Don't put the progression system in the game like this," and they did it anyway, without any real changes. And you know, so no, I don't believe EA. I don't
no,
believe a word EA
nobody.
says.
Never don't give EA the benefit of doubt. But we have forgotten a publisher that a couple people in chat brought up, and that's Bethesda.
Oh right, yeah.
Your game of the year last year and Prey, you know, my game of the year last year and Wolfenstein 2, the game I'm currently playing right now, which is Doom 2016. And my God, is it good? I mean, Bethesda, if you crave a third party that puts out quality single player focused experience, Bethesda is probably your favorite publisher of this gen,
I would
right?
say so. I mean, Bethesda, they're killing it too. You know, I mean, I didn't like Fallout 4 that much. I thought it would stripped the RPG back too much, and it was just kind of bland compared to New Vegas and Fallout 3, especially New Vegas. And Wolfenstein 2 was a good game, but it wasn't a great game. Personally, I don't think. It felt like the fact that they reuse a lot of areas, especially for the, you know, some of the grindy stuff. I thought that was really lame. But you know, I absolutely adore Prey, and I mean, they kind of mismarketed that game, I would say.
Well, they didn't
But
really have a good year last year. Like Prey seemed like an underperformed. Wolfenstein 2 seemed like an underperformed, and so did Evil Within 2.
Yeah.
They all seem like they underperformed. Who knows what's next for them? The rumored Starfield game that's supposed to be coming out this year, maybe a potential Elder Scrolls 6, maybe another Doom. But yeah, which I want to talk about really fast because that's the game I've been playing.
All right.
On like chapter 10 of Doom, which I want to say this is a reboot of the franchise, but it seems more like a sequel because you have history. You have like history in this world.
No,
Like you've been to the demon, the hell, right?
it's weird. It's almost like it is a reboot.
It's a reboot, but it's a sequel.
They pay homage to other incarnations of Doom in the plot, like the original Doom guy is referenced in the plot.
Well, you're supposed to be the original Doom guy.
But isn't it? I don't know. I don't really get it. I was too busy slaying monsters.
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing. So it recently got an X patch. My buddy Tim Dog, Beastfire Tim Dog on Twitter, which a lot of you people, most likely know. He wanted me to play it and do a review, so I obliged. And my God, is it really good?
It's like supreme. It is supreme.
Yeah, I mean, this is a scenario of like gameplay over story. Yeah, sure, the story's there, but it's not really in your face. But the gameplay is just so smooth, so buttery. Even though you can classify it as repetitive because you go to an area, there may be a gore portal or something, and there's a whole bunch of enemies. You kill them in waves, and then you move on to the end, and you rinse and repeat. Like, yeah, sure. Like, I get it. It's a tad repetitive because my buddy Gopher was like, "Is it really that good? Is it really that good?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because the gameplay's so good, and the visuals are so great, combined with that amazing music.
Oh like, God, it's got the best soundtrack.
Oh my God, it overrides the sense of like I'm doing the same thing again and again and again. Like, and when I went to hell for the first time, I'm like, oh man, this is really cool. Gregor Von Doom, I did see the fan art that you made. It was pretty badass. Shout out to Infinity Hand for the super chat. Hoping demons kill his pet rabbit from Doom 2. See, there's Gopher in chat. You see that right there? I would ban him, but he's a mod, and he's also one of my best friends. But is it really that good? See, you know what he's playing right now? He's playing Yakuza 6, and he's showing me screenshots of the perverted stuff he's doing in that game. So
that game has perverted stuff. I need to
yes, very perverted
now.
Very perverted stuff. But dude, like everything, like it has all the collection of weapons, the shotguns, the super shotguns, the machine guns, the chain guns, the rocket launchers. All of them have different
and the chainsaw
mods.
mechanic for getting ammo. Like it's a perfect shooter campaign. Really.
Yeah,
I tell you as well. If you're a fan of the soundtrack, they just announced that they're bringing it to vinyl this summer as well. If you're into vinyl,
not really into vinyl, but I mean, dude. Like the beginning, with the way that like the game is introduced, like the very beginning when you get into the elevator and it goes up and the title credit kind of hits and that music plays and at the end you just pump your shotgun in beat to the music. I was like, oh, we're in for a ride. I'm definitely going to include that in my review when I post about it. But I am loving this game. I have like a couple levels left. Hopefully I can finish it tonight before the greatest game of all time comes out that Sony has bestowed upon us, which is God of War, at least judging from the reviews, which I'm super excited for. But Jez, I mean, God, Doom. Have you played it since the 4K update? The game is gorgeous.
I haven't played it properly since the 4K update, but I did have a quick look, and it's just like it's just an incredible game. I think I review it. I think I might have reviewed it. I remember like I played it like start to finish, and like without any breaks. Because it was just like non-stop joy. It was like it was almost like being at a rock concert, with the pumping music and the motion. It's just a great game. If you haven't played Doom, it's probably really cheap now. Just go and buy it. Do yourself a favor.
It was just on sale for $20. It's worth every single penny. Now I'm interested because they've been teasing a little bit, Pete Hines at Bethesda, that there might be a Doom game at E3. Like, are we going to see Doom 2 pretty soon here.
I would love that.
I
I
mean,
would love that.
do you
Seems early.
remember? Do you remember when people were doubting if Doom would be any good because
I did.
ID were like, "Hey, they've been working on this game for a long time," and none of the reviews. Remember, that's when Bethesda started their whole review policy of like not
Oh
getting.
yeah.
And people were just like, "Oh my god, it's gonna suck." And then like people played it and they're like, "Oh my god, this is really good." And it's long too. Like I'm 10 chapters in and it definitely is on the longer side.
I tell you what else contributed to that sense that it wasn't going to be very good was the fact that they did a multiplayer beta before the game came out, and it was a bit janky. You know, I mean, Doom multiplayer is pretty good. It's old school, but not in a particularly great way. Especially on console. It might be better on PC, but it plays like an old school PC shooter on console, which isn't great. And that sort of left a sour taste in a few people's mouths. And I think that kind of affected the way at least the core community was thinking about Doom. But like, it's a shame because the campaign was so much more than the multiplayer was.
Yeah, I mean the
And,
multiplayer was okay. I wouldn't. I mean, I did
yeah,
play a little
it
bit
wasn't
of it.
bad. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. I played it quite a bit. Not, but it didn't hook me like Overwatch did, or which also came out around the same time. I think off the top of my head.
Yes, they came out the same month. So did Battleborn. They all came out in that May area.
Oh, Battleborn. Do you remember Battleborn?
I remember Battleborn.
I played that game a lot. You know,
I had that game. I bought it for like $7 digitally. Gopher was trying to convince me and like Maka to play it, and we were just like, nah. And like, yeah, like it was like
I didn't hate Battleborn.
I don't have an opinion either way. I own the game. I'm never gonna play it, just like I own Monster Hunter World. I'm never gonna play it.
The problem with Battleborn was it didn't feel good. It felt sluggish, and like the engine was kind of rough. And it was 30 FPS, and you get stuck on the terrain and stuff like that. It didn't flow very well. And like Overwatch came out at the same time, which was like buttery smooth, 60 frames, artificial, like superficially similar. Like they're different games, obviously. They have different like multiplayer goals and stuff like that. But it was like, do I play Overwatch or do I play Battleborn? I think I play Overwatch, and I just sort of never look back. But,
me so newbie in chat says 30 frames per second kill Doom. Well, Doom is 60 frames. Oh, and it feels so good. It feels so good.
You say 30 frames per second kill Doom?
That's what he says, but then he says Doom has to be 60 frames. Yeah, Doom is 60 frames.
Doom
definitely.
is 60 frames.
Definitely 60.
Why did he think it was 30?
I don't know. But Jez, I don't know if you saw this this hashtag going around on Twitter called GameStruck4.
Oh yeah.
The 4 games
that.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about it? Because I did my 4. You did your 4. So what is the 4 games that you used for that kind of maybe defined your impact influence in gaming? You kind of
okay. Well, I chose Sonic the Hedgehog for the Master System.
Okay.
That was the first game I remember that I actually like really loved as a little kid. I think I was like maybe 3 or 4 years old playing that. And I remember getting I'm not sure I ever completed it. I got like stuck on one of the Robotnik bosses, and for some reason I just couldn't do it, kid. And so that was like I mean, it wasn't the first game I played. I played Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Because that came baked into the Master System. Like you didn't need a cartridge. It was just like it was on the chip. But that game, even then, I kind of got a sense that game was kind of janky compared to Sonic. So Sonic was the game that I really loved, the first game. And then I put Final Fantasy VII because I think playing Final Fantasy VII was such a surprise. I'd never experienced any game like that before. My first real RPG, I think. I sort of somehow missed Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and I'd never played Zelda or anything like that. I hadn't played any RPG-ish game, action RPG or turn-based or otherwise. So Final Fantasy VII was my first turn-based RPG, and that was the game that really, for me, took me from just liking gaming to absolutely loving gaming. Because it was just an incredible game, and I just didn't really want to do anything else except play games after I played Final Fantasy VII. And then I think the next game I picked Mass Effect, the original one, because I just love that franchise. And Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect was just such a great game, and it was self-explanatory really. I mean, I included Mass Effect 1, but really the whole franchise. And Mass Effect 2 is probably my favorite game of the franchise. But I kind of like I take them as a 1, 2, and 3. I take them as a complete experience. A lot of people don't like 3, but I actually really love 3 because I played the game as a renegade, and some
So
of the
did I.
stuff you can do as a renegade in Mass Effect 3 is hilarious. Like shooting Ashley, for example. It's like, yes, finally.
Finally, I could shut her up. Yeah, I played the Mass Effect trilogy as a renegade as well. It was the best way to play it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so there was that, and then you know, for the last one, I was almost to pick The Witcher 3, but I figured I have to pick World of Warcraft because there probably won't come a game again that I played all day, every day, 12 hours a day for years, for like at least 3 years. World of Warcraft like was a lifestyle for me in my early 20s. I was unemployed. I didn't do anything. I didn't know what to do with myself because I screwed up my schooling, and like all my friends moved away to different countries. Like one of my best friends moved to New Zealand, the other one moved to Wales, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And World of Warcraft came around at just the right time for me to get completely hopelessly addicted to it. And as such my like their experience I've had in WoW, just no other game has even come close to. Like killing the Thorian for the first time, 40 people screaming on comms, like cheering because we killed this dragon that took us 3 months to kill. No other game will ever emulate that for me. And I had to pay tribute to World of Warcraft for that, even though like it's sort of like a shadow of its former self now. But
Yeah, no, I mean,
had to put it.
I get all the reasons people put World of Warcraft in their lists. But for me, like, I went with games that defined me as a kid, like, well, not as a kid, but as younger, maybe like an
Well,
adolescent to young adult,
I
you know?
mean, before you start, I didn't really understand what the hashtag was for. I thought it was just like four of the most impactful games. Is that right?
Um,
Or is it specifically for when you were younger?
no, not specifically when you were younger. I mean, I guess there's ones that had the most influence on you,
Oh,
you
okay.
know? So like to me, it's like the ones that have most influence on you are when, you know, you're just starting out gaming. So it's like in the past, like even though like BioShock Infinite or BioShock might be amazing, they're like last gen and you know, I'm an adult. So it's like I wanted to, you know, go back and think about the games that really got me into gaming and loving it. And like the first one that came to mind was Halo 2.
Uh,
It was the game that got me into Xbox. It was the game that got me into online gaming. No other game has captivated me like Halo 2. Similar for World of Warcraft for you. I literally played 12 hours a day for the multiplayer for an entire year. I lost a job over it, you know? Like that game like kind of defined me, like not going forward as well. Like it means so much to me, right? Um
mm,
what else? Punch Out. Mike
Punch.
Tyson's Punch Out,
Yeah.
and that game, like that was the first game I have a memory of, and it's a game I remember playing every single day when I had an NES, and I remember playing it with my dad. So I have a lot of good memories there with my dad, both trying to figure out how to beat you know the fighters in Punch Out, and it was such an amazing game. It holds up even now. I love
It is.
Punch Out. And the other game I had to pick, my last two, was Final Fantasy VII, because it was a game that really kind of was outside my comfort zone at the time. It was an RPG, and it was my first RPG I ever played. Like I never really liked those type of games, but I saw the trailers, I saw the commercials, you know, when they were running it for the PlayStation 1. It was like the biggest movie in your house or whatever it was. I forget exactly. And I love that game to death. I think I've played it to completion 5 or 6 times. So much so that Final Fantasy at one point became my favorite franchise. It's not anymore, but
I'm in the same boat as you, man. But the difference between I want to tell you like the difference between me and you with Final Fantasy is I had no idea what it was. I'm going to tell you a story now how I got Final Fantasy. A quick one.
okay.
My I think like I'd had some exam at school or something, and like sometimes like when I did well at school, my parents would buy me a game as a reward, and uh, they just buy me random games from the store, right? like what the store clerk recommended. And the store clerk recommended Men in Black. I think it was Men in Black 2 for the PlayStation 1, right? And yeah, I sort of like I was the game was bugged or unclear or something, but I couldn't get out of the very first area. There were like some boxes that I couldn't get over, and I was stuck. And I was like, I don't even like Men in Black. What is this game? So I took it back to the store, and I was like, I want to exchange this for a different game. And they were like, well, why don't you try this game, Final Fantasy 7? I was like, okay, whatever. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Can you imagine what experience I had when I hadn't even heard of the game?
Probably
And
the
like,
best experience of all time.
it was incredible, And like, I remember when I got to, the at the start where you do that quest on the motorbike, and I was like, oh my god, this is just incredible. Like, there's so much to this game. And then I got to the end, and I was like, surely that's the end of the first disc now. Because like I felt like I'd had a full game out of that just being in Midgar. And little did I know there was like at least another 10 hours of gameplay before the end of the first disc. At least if you're playing it conservatively. So I was just blown away by that game.
I love Final Fantasy VII. It got me into RPGs, and I went into an RPG game phase at that point. And the last game on the list is WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Yes, I also played this. I also really love this.
So the history with that is we played WCW World Tour. My buddies had an N64, and this was the house we would always go over to play stuff. And this was like beginning of high school for me. I actually was working at Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was my first job I ever had. And
that's a nice place to work.
Oh, yeah, great place to work. I mean, as a 15-year-old or whatever, 16, I was 15 when I was working there. And at the end, they throw out all the food, but you can take some stuff home. So like every night, and I'm not joking when I say every night, I would like get a box of chicken fingers that were thrown out, some chicken, some mashed potatoes, and I would go over to my friend's house in my dirty ass KFC uniform, get my other 3 friends, and we'd sit there and play WCW NWO Revenge and like all night while eating the chicken. And it was like the greatest thing ever. And I just have so fond memories of playing those games that I had to include it, in that thing for me, because it, brings fond memories up. But that's,
you're giving me nostalgia now, because I used to play NWO Revenge with my friends too. I always used to play Kimchi because it had really cheap moves.
You know what we would do? We would always do the Battle Royale mode or the Royal Rumble mode. So like we would just like, it would be the 4 of us, we'd play, and then you'd get whoever would run in. So it was amazing. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about that because it's a cool thing, seeing all the people's like, hey, the 4 games that defined me or whatever, and seeing the discussion around that. But let's get into some of these topics, shall we? I figure, you know what? Let's hit the Call of Duty stuff first.
Sure.
So like every website is running the story. I believe Polygon had it first, although it's been confirmed by Kotaku and Eurogamer, all by individual sources, that they're not going to have a single player for Call of Duty this year, Black Ops 4, and that they weren't going to have it ready in time, so they, just Activision decided to cancel it. And then Charlie Intel saying that it was too outlandish. I sent Jez some of the things from a dude who supposedly is all the inside information. I guess Black Ops 4 was going to deal with mental time travel or something. It sounded pretty damn cool, but unfortunately we're not going to get it. And in its place, we're going to be getting a Battle Royale mode and a bunch of multiplayer and zombies. And this pisses me off. But you can go first and say why this is the best thing for Call of Duty to do, because then I'm going to yell at you.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I have no horse in this race, because I do not care about Call of Duty. The last Call of Duty that I cared about was Modern Warfare 2. I was really disappointed at how Black Ops 2 was basically just a reskin Modern Warfare 2. And then I just sort of realized that this is what they were going to do now. They were going to do what they did to Call of Duty, what they did to Guitar Hero, re-release it every year and sell it again at full price and pretend it's a new game. And to be honest, that's kind of how I feel they've been doing it. I played Call of Duty World War II last year because I'm a big fan of that setting, and I figured, you know what, I haven't played Call of Duty for years, now's the time to give it a go. But you know what, it just, still, it was the same crap, laggy hosting infrastructure, all that stuff that I hated about Call of Duty, which Battlefield completely removed. I don't have to put up with people shooting me around corners in Battlefield because they've got good servers. And I hate that player hosted stuff. It's garbage, and they still do it. So I don't put up with it anymore. And I'm just done with that franchise because of how cheap it is. It's just a cheap franchise. I'm sorry if there are fans of it in chat, but I just don't like it. And I don't like Activision's practices either, for these reasons specifically. Now, Rand, you say that I think it's a good thing they're getting rid of the campaign. I don't necessarily think that, but at the same time, I've seen data that suggests that campaign modes are not enjoyed by that many people. Most people don't bother with them. Vast majority of people don't bother with them. And I know you're going to counterpoint this with your prestige thing. And but like it's you told me right. 20% of people completed the campaign mode ish
on Xbox. Yeah, on Xbox you have achievement rarity statistics as well as on PlayStation. You can go look this up for any of the Call of Duty games. The argument, look, I'll give you the argument that a Call of Duty campaign person isn't worth as much as a multiplayer person. I'll give you that argument because it's true.
That is my only argument, and it's
but people say nobody plays the campaign. Yet I can give you statistical proof that a ton of people actually do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a ton of people. But then again, they're people that you don't necessarily monetize as well. So, like, but this is the experiment part. This is the grand experiment they're gonna do now. This is the experiment. It's like, will people still consider that the value of that game to be $60 if it doesn't have a campaign? Even though I haven't finished the Call of Duty campaign since Call of Duty 4, right? And I thought Call of Duty 4's campaign was boring. Sorry, I don't like Call of Duty's campaigns. I think they're boring. I like sci-fi, stuff like that. And Modern Warfare 2's campaign, sorry. That's the last one I finished. But I didn't think they were that great, So I never bothered with them. So like whenever I play Call of Duty, it was for the multiplayer really. And I think that's the way most people see those games.
No, so I completely agree with you. Most people, if you're cutting out a mode for Call of Duty, the one that you're cutting out is campaign.
That's my final point, though, Ron. That's my final point. It's like, but even though it doesn't, I never played the campaign really. I still kind of think in my head, whether this is hypocritical or not, I'm sure people in the chat will let me know. But I still kind of think, I paid $60 for this game. It's my choice not to try the multiplayer part. I mean, the campaign part. But they're selling it for $60, and I understand why, because they've included a campaign for me to play if I feel like it. But now that the campaign's removed, I'm kind of thinking, well, this isn't a $60 game then. If they're just rebranding, reskinning the engine again, and to be honest, they don't even fully reskin it because they use the same assets from the last game. They're just doing that again and again and again and selling it for $60. Then, come on, it's not worth it. They're gonna have to prove that it's worth the $60 without the campaign, because even though I didn't really bother with the campaigns, it was still part of that package in my head. And I'm wondering how other people's going to take it. Now, either people won't care and they'll still buy it in the millions, which is what I'm expecting, because most people just don't really follow the drama in the gaming community. Or people do care, and this is a big mistake on Activision's part, and this could be the beginning of something. This could be Call of Duty's Battlefront 2 moment. So,
yeah, I mean, or that Call of Duty is trying to chase the newest fad, and because of it, they lost sight of what made the franchise so special. But first I want to address this idea that like nobody plays campaign and Call of Duty campaigns like are terrible. Like, hello, right. Modern Warfare 1, the ghillie suit mission. I mean, like people
mission. People always talk about the mission. That's the only good mission in the whole game.
People talk about like Call of Duty 2 campaign, the Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2's campaign, even Black Ops 1. campaign. Sure, there's some stinkers in there, but even Infinite Warfare I thought was amazing. So here's the thing, I have a huge issue with it. Like, over the course of time, they've always added content for your money. First, it was a campaign, which has been a staple of the franchise for 14 years. Then it was multiplayer. Then it was zombies. And maybe it was Spec Ops or what other type of game. Like, so they always added value for your money. Now they're literally taking out the thing that started Call of Duty, the campaign, and they're adding in another multiplayer mode and still charging, or essentially going to charge the same price. That doesn't sit well for me because I don't care about the multiplayer, right? So to me, it's like, I'm not going to buy it. Now, I've seen people say, well, oh, this is just great. They can just focus on what makes Call of Duty good, just the multiplayer. And it's like, the campaign, you could just not play it if you don't want to. Like,
but that's the thing as well. It's not like the multiplayer is suddenly going to be amazing because they're worked on by different teams.
And if you read any of the leaks from that dude, it sounds like the multiplayer is horrible. It sounds like people want boots on the grounds, and it sounds like it's a futuristic thing. The guy's comparing it to Call of Duty Overwatch or Call of Duty Lawbreakers. That's not like what made World War II as big as it was. People wanted World War II, and they wanted Call of Duty to go back to the boots on the ground. And it sounds like this one's like going in the opposite directions. But of course, like, here comes like them chasing the newest fad. And what's the newest fad in gaming? Battle Royale. Like, I swear, every single game that's going to come out from now until next year is going to have a Battle Royale mode. It's absurd at this point. I get it because I
feel so out of touch because I don't even like Battle Royale that much.
I mean, sure, but you understand, like,
I understand
how
why
Fortnite and PUBG, how popular those games are. I mean, PUBG was at 30 some odd million just on PC. Over 5 million on Xbox. Fortnite's the biggest game in the world. You know what this industry does better than anything else is copy. Call of Duty's going to have a fucking Battle Royale mode, and then Battlefield 5 is going to have a Battle Royale mode, and then Red Dead 2 is going to have a Battle Royale mode, and then Halo is going to have a Battle Royale mode, and then this other multiplayer game is going to have a Battle Royale mode. It's ridiculous.
Guys, Rand is pissed. Rand is pissed, guys.
No, because the bigger issue, the bigger issue that I'm looking at down the road is if this Call of Duty is successful, like as successful as World War II or not, it'll send a signal to not only Activision, but all the other publishers in the video game industry that single-player campaigns are not needed for your game to be successful. That's the biggest problem I have with this, and my biggest concern is that if this takes off, where it's just multiplayer and zombies for $60, and this game is a huge success, we already know this video game industry copies each other, right? And if it's proven that they can get away without spending the money on a campaign and just do the multiplayer, then EA is going to recognize this. Ubisoft will recognize. All these other companies will then take notice and be like, hey, we can save ourselves $100 million by not spending this amount of money on a campaign and just give people more multiplayer. And the fact of the matter that when Titanfall 1 and Star Wars Battlefront 1 came out, the biggest complaints about those games weren't the fact that they weren't good multiplayer. What was the biggest complaint? It didn't have a single-player campaign. People rallied against that idea. Oh, you're charging me $60 for half an experience. And yet here I see people praising Activision removing the campaign from Call of Duty because nobody plays it. It's just multiplayer, but they're still going to charge the same price. It's
it's
ridiculous.
Worse. What's worse is if it is like Overwatch, it's not going to have waifus. So what's the point?
Yeah. So that's my bigger issue is that if this game is a success, I hope it doesn't sell as well as World War II. I hope they realize that they made a mistake. And it's like I told you before in DM. Like I know what you're saying is right. Like the multiplayer gamer is more valuable to them, but they still recognize that they need a campaign because it's not like the campaign wasn't greenlit. They were working on it, and they were working on it for a long time. So it was supposed to be a part of it. However, for whatever reason, they decided that it was too outlandish, and that since they couldn't make it in time for launch, it was just best to cancel it. This isn't a situation where they just didn't bother doing it. What's the point of even calling the game Call of Duty Black Ops 4 if there's no single player? Where's this? The story thread doesn't go through the multiplayer.
This is the problem. It's like when a regular game runs into these kind of issues, they get delayed. But the problem is Activision has set up their entire console business model practically around the annual Call of Duty launch. I mean, think about like without Call of Duty, what do they really have on console nowadays?
Who,
I mean,
Activision?
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, they got Overwatch. They have Destiny.
that's the
Um,
thing. But it's like those games are sort of trickling in with the service stuff, and I've heard that Overwatch isn't even, the margins aren't that great on Overwatch. I can't remember where I read that, but it was it was like, a trusted source. So don't quote me on that, but I'll try and find it later. But I heard the margins on Overwatch weren't that great, and people aren't exactly playing Destiny in droves like they used to. I mean, when do you ever hear about Destiny anymore? I mean, sure, there are probably millions of people playing it, but really, they're better. My point is that their bread and butter for console is Call of Duty. So what do? Delay Call of Duty for 6 months to finish off the campaign or however long? Not going to happen.
it makes
They
me
got no
wonder.
they got no choice but to do that.
It makes
I
me
mean, to
wonder
launch it with that.
if this was also part of the reason of them pushing the game forward a month to get out before Red Dead. If like, oh, we weren't going to be able to finish the
Ooh.
campaign by October when it launched, so just cancel it. Or even the other rumors of how Modern Warfare 2 Remaster was going to be campaign only. You remember those?
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody said it was a real thing. What if they decided, you know what? People want a campaign, so what we're going to do is we're going to bundle Modern Warfare 2 Remaster with Black Ops 4. So if you want a campaign, boom, you got Modern Warfare's 2 campaign to replay and the Black Ops 4 multiplayer and the Battle Royale, and they don't have to worry about any people.
Oh God.
I'm just
Such a
saying,
mess.
like, it almost makes sense if you're going to remove the campaign from Black Ops 4, and here's the rumors about Modern Warfare 2's campaign. Boom, one package. There you go. You got your campaign and you got your multiplayer. Could it be true?
Could be, but at the same time, that's such a mess. I mean, people. I, I would have got Modern Warfare 2 remastered for the multiplayer because I love that multiplayer. I would have got that, but I wouldn't buy it just for the campaign. And you're creating this sort of weird mess now, where it's like, what is Call of Duty as a franchise? And it's sort of like, you know what it is, Rand? Ultimately, it's growing pains. It's like the old guard trying to figure out how to compete in a world where PUBG and Fortnite have become dominant, because those games are so, well, less so PUBG, but Fortnite, for example, is so nimble. They keep adding new content to it all the time, figuring out ways of keeping people engaged. When it comes to Call of Duty, it's not. They can't do that to the same extent because they rely so much on an annual retail release. So like, what they would really like to do probably is just make something like Call of Duty Online and just have a game as a service that they update in perpetuity. Which is what I believe you told me the rumor was for the
Well, yeah,
Battle Royale mode.
the rumor for the Battle Royale mode is that like you get Call of Duty Battle Royale with the purchase of Black Ops 4, but it's its own separate game that'll exist every single year alongside the other Call of Duty games. I mean, it sounds pretty outlandish because then essentially you're going to have two Call of Duty games always competing with each other. You're going to have the Battle Royale one that is just always there versus the new annual release. Like who knows if it's true? Like I don't know. Like
That's the thing though. That's the weirdness. It's like, what do you do? What do you do? Game. Millions of gamers are saying we prefer a game like Fortnite where it's updated in perpetuity, or we prefer a game like Overwatch where it's just fixed and we get new content every now and then, and we don't have to pay for that content, but in exchange we'll buy your loot crates for cosmetics and stuff like that. That's what gamers, for them, they're a data driven company, when they're looking at that data and saying like, well, if this is what Fortnite are doing, this is what Overwatch is doing, why don't we make Call of Duty more like that? Because that's apparently what gamers want. This is how they get around that sort of that guilt of ruining a franchise. Is they're like, well, the data says this is what gamers want. That's how they get around it in their heads. But we know that this isn't necessarily what Call of Duty fans want. But it's like, do they forsake those core fans to chase the next big thing, or what do they do? It's never enough for these dudes.
And once again, EA could come big through here with like, hey, we have a fully content game with campaign, co-op, and multiplayer.
And the Battle Royale mode in one package.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they could stand to gain from this. But this also raises the question, like, these devs for Call of Duty are on a 3-year cycle. Could they not finish the campaign in 3 years?
But I don't
Or
know.
is that the excuse they're going with? Because the excuse was it wasn't going to be ready in time, and
That's
the
the
release.
rumored excuse. Like Activision hasn't even commented. They've said we don't comment on rumor and speculation.
Well, supposedly the reveal for the game on the 17th is just going to be the Battle Royale mode. They're not even going to reveal like the actual Black Ops 4 multiplayer or zombies until later on. That it's just going to be the Battle Royale reveal. I'm going to be sick about all these Battle Royale games by next year. So someone told
I
me
already am sick of them. I'm just sick of them. But to be fair, if they release an Overwatch Battle Royale mode, I would play the hell out of that.
someone told me that he was like, you're going to be swimming in Battle Royale games by this time next year, and you're going to hate it. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably 100%.
I love those like have you seen the memes? Like I saw on Reddit. There's like a Forza Battle Royale and SimCity City Skylines Battle Royale stuff like that. It's pretty ridiculous and funny. But do you remember like when Overwatch launched? Everyone said everything's going to be a hero shooter now, and that didn't really pan out, did it?
No,
It's like how much room is there in how much room is there in the industry for another PUBG or another Fortnite?
well, that's the thing. Remember, Cliffy B always said, even in his run up to Lawbreakers, that there's always kind of room for 2 or 3 in a genre, and they hope to be the third. But obviously, Lawbreakers wasn't the case. So it's like, yeah, you have Fortnite and PUBG. I mean, but those are strictly only like they're only battle royale games. Like at least Call of Duty, it's just going to be a mode in Call of Duty. It's just going to be a mode in Red Dead. It's not like the entire game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how all that stuff pans out. Shout out to the Room. Sorry if I said your name wrong. People used to play the campaign to get used to the guns and stuff before the multiplayer. Thanks for the super chat and the support. That's true. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of the Call of Duties, even though I enjoyed playing from the story, at least from a Michael Bay perspective of like explosions and stuff. Yeah, it got you used to how the game controlled. It got you used to the different type of weapons in the game, the different scopes. Not so much in a way like Star Wars Battlefront 2, where the campaign in Star Wars Battlefront 2 really felt like this is a tutorial for the multiplayer. Go play it. Like at least the Call of Duty campaigns kind of felt like, an actually like kind of a real campaign. It didn't really feel like it was training you for the multiplayer, even though that was kind of apparent.
Oh well, there's something we're missing here that we neglected to mention, because we talk about how people in multiplayer focused games, people don't touch the campaign, but there is one game that bucks that trend, and that is Star Wars Battlefront. Actually, as EA said in their earnings call, that 70% of players finished the campaign, which I was really, really surprised about. So,
well, you were really, really surprised that I told you can get achievement statistics for global Xbox Live stats, and you were like, "What?
What do I look like, a game journalist?"
Yeah,
come on.
And people, yeah, I mean, okay, granted, maybe not a lot of people finished it. I think it was like 60% of the people who played Call of Duty World War II finished the first mission, and then 25% actually finished the campaign. So there is a huge drop off. You can even look at like the Gears of War. I think the Gears of War campaign sits at like 30% for completion, and that's kind of standard across Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It's like a third of the people who buy your game actually finish it.
I saw like only 1% of Evil Within players finish the game on normal, or something ridiculous like that. Like a really tiny percentage. And like that game is only single player. So people don't finish games. I mean, I honestly can't remember the last time I fully finished the game myself, except for like review copies. Because I don't really get time to actually fully sit down and play a game anymore. I mean, maybe I would if I wasn't playing Monster Hunter World for 100 hours. But
Monster Hunter World.
game's too good.
All right, so let's move on from this Call of Duty talk. We'll obviously have more information to talk about it when it's actually confirmed, and what they're actually doing with the stuff. But man, I'm just looking at the future, and I'm like, I could totally see this succeeding, and more publishers being like, awesome, fire half of our staff that's working on campaign and do multiplayer only, and still charge $60 and have a season pass and have loot boxes. You know,
I'm paid to win.
that's like the darkest timeline. But anyways, Xbox and E3. Well, this is gonna be fun. Microsoft, they put out their plans, and then earlier today, I see people talking about this supposed leak, which actually has been around for a few days now. So I wanted to talk about it. We'll go over the stuff, and me and Jazz will probably tell you why it's all fake, because definitely most of this looks all fake. But so Microsoft, having their press conference on June 10th at, I think it was 1 p.m. Pacific, which is a Sunday. They are going to be on Mixer, broadcasting in 8 languages. Probably most likely be on Twitch and YouTube and all those other places. And there's going to be an episode of Inside Xbox on Monday, which exclusive announcements, all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they, factor Inside Xbox into all that stuff. They mentioned
that's this week,
huh?
Inside Xbox is this Monday.
No, it said Inside Xbox is going to be the day after the press conference on June 11th.
Oh, I didn't actually read these.
No, you're a game journalist. Why would you read anything?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why would you read anything? But they said that we'll see, more looks at previously announced games, and then of course Microsoft's going to share their future lineup with trailers for games in 2018 and beyond. And then they also talked about FanFest and how you can actually, get in there if you're a fan. 400 people going to FanFest with all that cool stuff. 1,000 people getting in for free for the press conference. I'm not going to be there this year, unfortunately.
It looks like I'm not going to be there either.
No, Jez. Hey, we can do a podcast then.
Yeah, we can do a podcast for people who aren't at E3.
Yeah. Shout out to the Ozeman for the super chat. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. And I can't wait for E3. But so this list that comes from 4chan, right? Which you should already
4chan.
kind of already assume is fake as all hell. The thing is why people
are you telling me that 4chan isn't a viable source of information?
I mean, they can be sometimes. I'm just saying that
was sarcasm.
I know it was sarcasm. But the thing is, people pass this around because some of it obviously can't be true. Forza Horizon 4, of course. We know Forza Horizon 4 is coming in there. So you see that in here and you're like, okay, so this is what this says. So the guy has it completely laid out. Not only every single game that's going to be showed, but the marketing deal, what'll be in Game Pass. Here's the thing. I know, and Jez knows, that Microsoft's E3 conference isn't finalized yet. So, and it won't be finalized until later on in a couple months. So the fact, while Microsoft might have a listing of what potentially is going to be at E3, some random Joe Blow out there certainly is not going to be. They're not going to have a full list. But for just, jokes, let's you want to look at this list, Jez? You want to see what's real and what's fake?
Read it out, man. Let's hear it.
All right. So I just lost the list. Where'd it go? Oh, there's your DMs with all that secret info.
All that secret.
All that super secret info.
Super secret info.
All right. So you have Forza Horizon 4 in 4K, 30 frames per second on X, Japanese setting, Xbox Game Pass, gameplay trailer demo, fall 2018. I mean. Sure, if you follow the rumor mill, yeah, that Forza Horizon 4 is going to be announced and it's going to be in Game Pass, presumably, even though no Forza game has been in Game Pass yet. You find that a little weird, Jez? No Forza games in Game Pass yet?
That is weird.
It is pretty weird.
It's weird and it's not weird. I'll tell you why it's not weird. It's not weird because they are staggering the release of games into Game Pass because they want to, when people's subscriptions are coming to an end, they'll be like, "Oh, keep your subscription going, and you'll get Forza." They're going to stagger the release of those games to try and keep people engaged until it's got like a sizable library. And Netflix did this in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's why.
So that's one. Then you have Starfield, marketing deal, gameplay demo, open world sci-fi RPG, holiday 2018. Now Starfield is the supposed new IP from Bethesda. Um, they have a good working relationship with Xbox. A lot of their games do have a marketing deal with. I've also heard that uh, that is going to be the big Bethesda game for this year. Is that Starfield? They're going to show off at their E3. I don't know when it's coming out, but they do seem to like to reveal games 6 months before they come out. So I could see that being true, along with the Forza thing. Scream Ride 2. Oh, Scream Ride 2. Okay. Xbox Game Pass gameplay trailer holiday 2018.
That's just weird. That's just weird. Don't you think that's weird?
It is weird. I don't think Scream Ride was that big of a franchise for them to do a sequel to, but I mean, I could totally see it happening. Microsoft would get crap for it, but I don't know if Scream Ride 2 is a game that Microsoft wants to go back to the well on again. I know
maybe it's one of those games that like, because there are some games on Xbox that the whole community ignores. Then like kids play it and stuff like that. Like the reason they brought those Disney games back last year was because like Zoo Tycoon was like their #1 kids game or something for that age group. So it's not like they can ignore that age group completely. And I think that could explain Scream Ride maybe, but at the same time it's like, come on, Scream Ride? Really?
Well, Crap Gamers says in chat, it could be a thing because they could use avatars in it. The new Xbox avatar system.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying Scream Ride 2 is not real. I could totally see it happening. It's just it makes me kind of like it's not a game I would personally care for. Crackdown 3 Xbox Game Pass gameplay trailer, multiplayer beta holiday 2018. Crackdown 3 will be making its 4th E3 appearance.
Has it really been 4 times?
Yeah, they showed it off in 2014. Yep.
My God.
So yeah, that's going to be there. Obviously, I don't think it's releasing before E3. I've said I thought they'll launch a beta the day of E3 of the conference for the game. So yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider marketing deal, gameplay demo, Xbox Game Pass fall 2018. So the thing that caught my eye was the Xbox Game Pass. As much as I would love third parties to get on board, I can't see Shadow of the Tomb Raider being an Xbox Game Pass game. And the marketing deal, I've heard that the marketing for Shadow of the Tomb Raider is with Sony this time. So if that's the case, then you can discard the rest of this list.
If one thing's wrong, it's kind of like, yeah, they've made the things up, and they've sprinkled a bit of truth here and there, like the obvious stuff, like Forza.
Yeah. Well, plus there's a couple things here that, at least one thing here that it's not on the list that I know is going to be there. So it's like already makes me like think it's fake as hell. Then they're going to show off Sea of Thieves with new content, a trailer. It already is in Xbox Game Pass. So I don't know why you need to put it in there. Fall 2018. I would prefer Microsoft not show Sea of Thieves again, but they probably will, won't they, Jez?
They kind of need to. They need to address the criticism. They need to show the roadmap and what the stuff, the stuff that's coming. I know what's coming for Sea of Thieves, but the stuff that is coming to Sea of Thieves. It's awesome, actually, and I think that's worthy of a segment on at E3. So I would say that.
Then you have
people maybe you disagree, but I think the stuff that I know is coming to Sea of Thieves sounds cool, and I'd like to see it on the big stage, personally.
Well, then you have a couple indie games, Ashen, which is going to be great. Last Night, which is supposedly launching into Game Pass, and Below, launching into Game Pass, all coming out this year. Once again, they've all said they're coming out this year, so it's really not that much of a surprise. Although it would be a surprise for Below and Last Night to be in Game Pass, because as far as I know, those are self-published games.
Those, that'd be a surprise, because Below isn't even Xbox Play anyway.
Yeah.
Not even coming to the Windows Store. So,
I mean, it would be great for Game Pass. Like Shadow of the Tomb Raider being day one in Game Pass, along with the Last Night, Below, and some of these other ones would be great. but I just don't see it yet. I think third parties are going to be waiting to get on board to see how it pans out. Then you have Madden marketing, Minecraft, great, another Minecraft thing. Like, I know people are always like, "Oh, Minecraft at E3, nobody cares," but it's like it's Microsoft's biggest franchise. You know, like by far, you know, it dwarfs anything they've done. Minecraft, you could argue Minecraft's bigger than Xbox.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it is bigger than Xbox.
So it's like, of course they're gonna show it off. You know, they maybe they'll demo the Switch, crossplay with Xbox. You know, because I don't think
Is that still not here yet?
I think they said it'll be there towards the end of the year. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe it's already there, and I just don't know.
I'm hoping that they'll announce a launch date for the 4K update. But
yeah,
again, this is like, it's kind of annoying when they announce they re-announce the launch date of stuff for things that have been delayed, because the 4K update for Minecraft has been significantly delayed because of issues with UWP. So I don't even know if that's coming this year anymore. It's
so I'll
run into trouble.
All the stuff I'm talking about is supposed to be this year. And then, of course, there's Battlefield 5, marketing with Xbox, Metro Exodus, marketing with Xbox, fall, holiday this year, Banjo-Kazooie Anniversary, launching in Game Pass this year. I mean, I think is it the Banjo-Kazooie's 20th anniversary? I guess it's possible Microsoft does something from that. But I mean, Battlefield 5 and Metro Exodus having marketing with Xbox isn't that much of a stretch, considering Metro debuted there and Battlefield. If Sony has Call of Duty, then more than likely Microsoft has Battlefield. So it's like one of those things where this list seems to be true, you know, because they add things just people can easily guess. But then it gets into 2019 and beyond, and it gets a little weird. Borderlands 3. So spring 2019 marketing deal and launching an Xbox Game Pass.
That is weird.
It's weird because I don't expect Borderlands 3 or Shadow of the Tomb Raider to do that. It would be big for Game Pass.
It's like Microsoft will be paying money for that, and it's kind of like, is that really worth it? I don't know. People might subscribe. I mean, maybe Microsoft thinks like if they have those games for that month, maybe it's just a single month, and then people will leave their subscriptions active. Maybe that's what the play is there. But again, it'd be a big surprise considering this. They can't even get devs to support the Windows 10 store, which is attached to hundreds of millions of computers. So why are they going to support Game Pass and not the Windows 10? So I'd be surprised.
Yeah, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, spring 2019 Game Pass gameplay. Of course, par for the course. Electric Madness Fun Racer, spring 2019 Xbox Game Pass gameplay trailer. Now, this would be what people are referring to as the Forza kart game. Now, is it a Forza kart game? Is it something completely different? I don't know. I mean, I've heard the Forza rumors, the third franchise rumors, just as much as everybody else. If it's true, a Forza game, right, then they won't reveal it this year. But if it's like some kart racer that uses your avatars, that's just like a cute little $20 title, then maybe they reveal it at E3. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if that's really anything people really want. But here we go with Splinter Cell reboot with open world. How do you do a reboot of Splinter Cell and have it open world, considering the first game was an open world? Marketing rights first on Xbox, Jez. So this game would be launching first on Xbox. Fall of next year.
If that happens, that's a ton of money that's changed hands.
Ubisoft doesn't do that.
And Ubisoft doesn't do that, except for like Nintendo stuff.
Well, because they're letting them use Mario and Toad and stuff, As happy as I would be to see Splinter Cell coming back to Xbox, first on Xbox doesn't make sense from what Ubisoft trying to do. Anthem marketing gameplay demo fall 2019. I mean, currently I believe isn't Anthem scheduled for early 2019, right? Like early, like March.
Yeah. Wasn't it delayed?
Yeah, it was delayed. It was supposed to come out this fall, but we all knew it was going to get delayed, and they were going to release it like March of next year. and I mean it hasn't been delayed since. I really don't see Anthem releasing in the fall. I see Anthem releasing mid-year to try to capitalize on, you know, not a lot of games being out or whatever. What else? And this is the thing that the next one is the thing that throws this whole thing to me. Halo Genesis, which is a reboot.
Yeah.
It's split screen, new engine, Warzone 2.0, multiplayer beta 2018, teaser trailer fall 2019. What? So,
yeah,
they're rebooting Halo after they just finished 5.
apparently. That's what it says.
Jez, I don't know what to think about this. I mean, I know what to think of it. That's fake. Look, I've heard there's 2 Halo projects. One's Halo 6. I don't know anything about the story or anything like that. And the other one's a Halo multiplayer only title.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Well, this is what I've heard. That there's a Halo VR game in the works.
Well,
As well.
yeah, I mean a Halo VR game, but I don't know if would that game be on Xbox or would just be a Windows game.
Yeah, I guess we're not gonna get VR on Xbox until they figure out the wireless headset thing. Because Phil doesn't want wired headsets for Xbox, which I get because it's a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
So,
and then you have Cyberpunk 2077 marketing coming out 2019, 2020. Joanna Dark, third-person action teaser trailer holiday 2019. Shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. I expect a ton of times exclusives via ID at Xbox. That's probably going to happen. And then at the end, it says new Xbox Elite controller. Wow, going off on a limb on that one. New Xbox achievement system. Hey, Jez, you hear anything about that?
yeah, tune into Windows Central tomorrow.
Ooh.
More information on that.
Ooh. There you go. Exclusive. Listen to Windows Central tomorrow to find all about that. Which, Jez, did you just corroborate this leak? You got one thing right on here, the new achievement system, and you're saying he's correct. Does
I
that
leaked
make
it
the rest
already.
Yeah.
In January, so they can take it, shove it.
New Xbox One X bundle with colors. You want a white Xbox One X or maybe a purple one, maybe a green one?
Red. No, pink.
Red.
I want a pink Xbox One X to go with my Barbie games because I want to be more like you, Red.
No Fable, no Halo Wars 3, which I didn't even know another Halo Wars was in development because the last one's so bad. And
we'll never see how that was again.
No new Gears IP. Which no new Gears IP.
No new Gears IP.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what exactly that means. Like I would assume Gears 5, but I've heard there is a new Gears game at the C3, which is kind of why this list kind of thrown off for me because like it's one of the things I know not 100% for sure, but pretty damn sure is going to be there and it's not on this list. So it's like, yeah, while some of it may be true, in fact, maybe a lot of it is true, there's some stuff in there like Halo Genesis, a reboot of what? Which Halo? Which Halo are they rebooting? The first one? Halo 3? Halo Reach? Like, you know? And it's just a bunch of guesswork. Comes from 4chan. I mean, that's the problem. A lot of these things are going to be real, you know? Like the Forza, the Last Night, Below, like all that stuff. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, although
new Elite controller, the new achievement system. Well, it's not an achievement system. It's called the Xbox Career System.
There you go.
At least that's what they're calling it internally. But it could be called something else at launch, but that's what it's going to be. But it's not replacing achievements either, before anyone thinks that. But that, yeah, I mean, these are all like rumors and leaks that have already happened, and they've sort of just put it in a big list and said it's for E3. I mean, some of it's just obvious. So,
yeah, I don't know how some random dude got the list when Microsoft hasn't even finished it yet. You know, so it's like one of those things where he puts a lot of right information in there, and then like it makes you question like, oh, could this be real? Could Screamrite 2 be a real thing? Are they really rebooting Halo? And then, of course, the thing is, you see people run around with it like it's true. People do, you know, Twitter posts and make videos about it. And it's like, you know, this, like, I've seen people already react like this is a real thing. Like, this is 100% confirmed
I've had a few DMs about it, and I've
and
just had to spam fake in caps.
yeah. So I mean, but this happens every E3. If you look, if you want to be spoiled on it, just wait for like the day or two before E3 when that stuff does leak, and then it'll be real because it always happens. But this far out, if it's not Seaboat or if it's not NK Eternal, if you know those guys from the old NeoGaf days, uh,
Seaboat.
you remember Seaboat?
I remember Seaboat.
Yeah, when the guys who actually had information. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, E3 for Microsoft, Jez. I mean, what do you personally want to see? Because I saw you putting out tweets today, like if you what was your tweet today that got a lot of attention? It was like,
It's
um,
like I've had a few people say to me like, "Oh, I'm going to PS4. I'm sick of this. Microsoft doesn't care about what we want, and they don't care about mature games anymore. Blah blah blah. I'm going to go to PS4 next gen, and I'm going to go to PS4 next after E3 if Microsoft doesn't fix it." And it's just like, man, just put your money where your mouth is and switch if you're that bothered about it, because whining is not going to make it anything come any faster. Microsoft have heard the criticism. They know the criticisms, and they want to do something about the criticism. Phil Spencer's in it to win it. He said that to me multiple times at shows and stuff like that. So, but these things take time, and Microsoft's undergoing a massive organizational restructure. Phil Spencer's old boss is gone. Phil Spencer's now truly in charge of Xbox. He wasn't before. He was just sort of the steward of Xbox, whereas like really the Terry Meisen's really the Windows chief was really in charge of what actually happened and where the money went and what the focus was. It was on him. And then Phil Spencer was mitigating the disaster that was Don Matrick and stuff like that. These things take years to fix, and it's not gonna just happen overnight. People aren't gonna start working 90-hour weeks just because you cry about it.
well, unless you're the devs of Warhammer.
Oh God, yeah. So that. But yeah, that was my point, and I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about E3 and people
Yeah.
that want to jump ship because it's not.
So what do I want from E3? That's what.
Yeah. What do you want from me? What does Jez Corden, not Jez Corden, entrepreneur reporter for Windows Central, what does Jez the gamer want to see from Microsoft?
This is really hard for me because I've started to realize as I do this job more and more why some game journalists become completely out of touch with the community. Because the community, I mean, I've felt it happening over the years. I've been doing this now for about 3 years. And like over time, you learn things about the industry that regular people just don't know. And you learn things about other things, and you hear insider information and the business side of things, and it changes the way you feel about it. So like, whereas before, I might have been one of those people who was saying, "Oh my God, God of War looks amazing. Where is Xbox's God of War?" But the thing is, I understand why it's not there, and I accept that. I understand why it's not there, and I accept it because I know things. I know why. I know that Terry Myerson was stronger holding Xbox, and I know that Microsoft had this reorganization, and I know they didn't have infinite money with which to make these sorts of games, and they are restructuring, and I know these things, and I accept it. So it kind of changes my priorities about what I want to see at E3, because for the most part, I'm kind of happy with the console, because I don't have as much time as I used to, and like, yeah, God of War is coming out this month, but I'm not jealous of it because I'm still addicted to Monster Hunter World. And yes, I am gonna get a PlayStation, and I am gonna play God of War. But it's not like, it wouldn't devastate me if I just decided, nah, I'm not gonna get it. I could take it or leave it. So there's two different minds. There's two different mindsets I have when I look at that question you asked. What should Xbox do? And like, there's one thing I think about: what should Xbox do to win win, quote unquote. What should Xbox do that I want? Now, Rand, what I want is going to completely differ from what you want. Because what I want to see is more platform stuff. You know, I want to see more investment in the movie store. I want to see more investment in devices and, you know, even Cortana. You know, I would be happy if they announced some kind of speaker, microphone, so I can use voice commands again. Because I used to love using voice commands on my TV. I used to love getting in from work and saying Xbox on, and I can't do that anymore because I don't have Connect and I don't have an adapter for Connect. So those are the things I want to see, which I know isn't what the community really cares about. So I think when you ask that question, what do I think they should do? I think they need to announce some mature games. They need to really think about taking a risk and maybe teasing future games that maybe cater more to what Sony fans are enjoying right now, which is mature games that are really high quality. You know, they need to announce. They need to at least tease some of those. I I don't think they can just get away with, you know, the same old stuff that they do every year. They need to. I would like them to see them. I'd like to see them shake it up a bit. You know, I'd like to see them take risks. I'd like to see them announce things early and then deliver on those promises. But as we know from Scalebound, they're not likely to do that because plans can change, things can go wrong. I'd like to see them announce maybe acquisitions or something good that we know is expensive that shows they're really committed to improving first party. You know, there was all those rumors about Microsoft acquiring studios and maybe even acquiring publishers.
Yeah, EA, Valve, and what was the other one?
Uh, EA,
Oh, and
Valve,
PUBG. That's right.
oh, and Bluehole, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean that's just not realistic. You know, I don't expect them to acquire EA, but I would honestly like to see them invest in a studio. You know, even if it's a small studio, like the Astroneer devs or something. I think if Astroneer had a bigger team and could achieve their roadmap faster, I think that game could be huge. But the problem is they're like 5 people, and it's like their roadmap is massive. Like their roadmap is public on Trello, and you can see what they want to put in the game. They want to put farming in the game. They want to put all this stuff in the game. They'll
Fishing?
make it. Uh, I don't know, fishing.
You should really DM them and be like, "Hey, how about like fishing? Fishing works."
Yeah. Well, on the topic of fishing, why not? Why not just say we're acquiring this UK studio and we're going to merge them with Rare so we can really deliver on the vision of Sea of Thieves. You know, do something that proves that they are really committed financially to growing out first party and not just sort of play it safe all the time, banking on the subscriptions and just letting the money roll in and sort of playing it slow. You know, Microsoft always say this thing like we're playing the long game, and they said that when the original Xbox launched. The original Xbox One launched in 2013. I think it was Major Nelson who said, "We've got a 10-year plan for Xbox. We're playing the long game, blah, blah, blah." That long game has changed radically since the original Xbox launched, the original Xbox One launched. And now we're still sort of in this scenario where it's like, oh, we're playing the long game. You know, we've seen UWP practically fail. You know, I mean, there are games hitting UWP like Hellblade hit UWP today.
Yeah, I saw that.
They didn't even announce it, or announce that it was coming. At least I just went on the store to do an update for GroupMe of all things, and then I just saw a massive advert for Hellblade UWP. It's like, oh, well, that's interesting, and I'd like to see them announce that they're going to fix the Windows Store, which we know is not going to happen. It's a pile of garbage, and they've just left it to flounder. And I don't know what the deal is. Do they think it's okay? Like, what is the deal there? You know, the criticism I have of Xbox are platform related, not so much game related. I just want to see them commit money and resources to help Rare achieve its vision for Sea of Thieves. I want to see them grow their first party studio, the size of their first party studios, the first party studios that they have, and become like a game publisher and not just sort of like a platform holder, which honestly at times feels like it's doing the bare minimum in games, delivering these AA experiences like Recore and stuff. Like Recore had this amazing CGI trailer, and then the game was sort of like what you might have got on the Xbox Arcade in the 360 era, frankly. I had much higher hopes for that game and that franchise than what we got. And it's just a shame sometimes. And I think maybe I've just become I'm going off on a tangent a bit, but I've just become so used to not expecting much from Microsoft's first party that I just don't care anymore. I'm enjoying the third party stuff. And I think that's true for most Xbox gamers who aren't on Twitter. They don't really think about this stuff. They just, we'll play Call of Duty every year.
Yeah, you seem to have a different wants than what most other people want to see. And shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. He says Microsoft plays the short game, Sony plays the long game. Well, Jez would disagree with you, and he says that Microsoft plays the long game.
Well, they are both thinking about the future, but Sony's sort of sprinting to the future, whereas Microsoft's sort of trying to pace itself. They're coming at it from different places.
Well, yeah, they both clearly have different business objectives and how to go about them and stuff. But see, for me, like I already think the platform is great. Like Xbox Live, right? Like I think that's already great, and I think the hardware is great. My biggest issue right now is with the current output of first party, and with the lack of with essentially not knowing what's coming in the future. So like the big thing I want to see is I want to see what they're doing with Halo. How are you bringing Halo into the future? I mean, 4 years is a long time for a dev. What are you doing with the extra year of dev time? How are you going to make the story as good as it used to be while maintaining the quality of the multiplayer? Are you going to be chasing Battle Royale? Or are you going to be going after hero shooters? Or are you going to stick to the tried true Halo formula? Like, I'm kind of interested in seeing what Microsoft does with arguably one of their biggest, if not their biggest IP outside of Minecraft. So that's like my number one thing. And, Halo is my favorite franchise. So I need to know what's going on there. Shout out to the Ravenflow for another super chat. He says, only long game Microsoft is playing is with Windows 10. I think the long game for them is also with the cloud gaming division. I think that is clearly the long game there. What else I want to see? I want to see new IP. Like, they haven't shown off a new IP in 2 years. And hold on, Jez, I have someone at the door, so why don't you take a question? I'll be right back. And then I'll expound upon this.
Oh snap. Okay, guys. It's just us now. It's just you and me. Let me move some questions while we wait for Rand to come back. I'm sorry if my audio is a bit strange, but I have a new headset. I haven't tried for streaming before. Can you guys actually let me know if my microphone's okay? I haven't actually used this microphone for streaming before. So entertain us, Jez. Oh God, I'm just not a very entertaining person. Jez, how many girls you have on the side? Oh my God, 0. I would never do such a thing. I absolutely love my girlfriend. My question is, how you doing, Jez? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited about my exclusive for Xbox tomorrow. It's not a huge exclusive. Not a huge exclusive, but I think if you're interested in the platform and stuff like that, you might enjoy it. Why doesn't Microsoft just replace the Windows Store with Xbox Live? God, I don't know. The reason they weren't before was because Terry Myerson was in charge of the Windows Store, and he refused to allow Xbox to take over the Windows Store. But now he's gone, and the Windows division has been carved up and placed under different sections of Microsoft. Hopefully now, Mike Ibarra can just go in and fix the Windows Store, because he knows it's garbage. They all know it's garbage.
I'm back, Jez, by the way.
Jez, why is Xbox low on first party? Ryan, Xbox is low on first party because they didn't have any money to invest in second party deals for the last few years. But that's different now. I know it's not what people want to hear, and I know that's people rolling their eyes and stuff like that, but it boils down to money at the end of the day. So yeah. Randy's back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
But fishing and Halo thoughts, or fishing in Barbie at 4K 60 on the X.
Fishing and Barbie at 4K
game
60.
Of the year. Game of the year, right there.
So I want to know what Halo is going to do. It's my favorite franchise. They haven't shown off a new IP in 2 years. I think it's imperative they show one off, whether it's a AAA production or whether it's a small one. Like I want at least some focus to be on a new game, like a brand new game that they have the IP for. And since they haven't done one in 2 years, I think now's the time. No more excuses. Like, what else? I want to see something that's coming out in 2020. I know it's probably highly unlikely. I know the Fable game is real, but that game, the problem is a lot of their investments now are for next generation. I know people roll their eyes at stuff, but it's the honest to God's truth. The Perfect Darks, the the next Fable.
You say next generation, Rand, but what do you mean? They're gonna launch on the Xbox One too.
I know, but I mean, you saw the thing today. Microsoft's looking for a new hardware engineer with GDDR6 like RAM, whatever. I mean, like, look, and you know for yourself, you know that they're already working on the next Xbox.
Yeah.
Like, just like
you know the funniest rumor about that I've heard so far is
what?
That the next Xbox will be Intel based.
No,
it's not going to be Intel based because their entire encryption structure is based on it.
So the thing is, like, I want to know what's coming out in 2020 because I can already guess what's coming out at the end of this year. Like, telling me what's coming out in 2018, like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, most people already know. It's like, yeah, Forza. Yeah, we know that already. So it's like, I want to know what's 2019 and then maybe the beginning of 2020. Like, I'm not saying you need to go as deep as Sony does, where they like literally will tell you like games like 4 years out. I'm not saying that. And I'm not even saying you need to even show gameplay for any of this stuff, but I would like to see a 30-second tease of Fable from Playground Games or a 20-second tease from the new Perfect Dark game, even if it's not something I'm interested in. Just be like, by the way, here are the games coming out in 2018. Here's the games you can expect next year. But here's a look at a couple unannounced games in the future. And just
what if they just do like a 30-second little teaser trailer?
That's fine. That's
for people to analyze and stuff.
That's all I want to see. Who knows if they will. I mean, Microsoft says the Xbox, like, oh, we know what, the memes and all this stuff. And maybe now's not the time. Maybe there's not enough of Fable to go around yet, or Perfect Dark or any of that stuff. But I mean, that's kind of what I want to see. Like, obviously, you already know there's going to be great third party games at the show. There always are. They're going to be cool looking indie games, right? There always are. But like, in my opinion, I think what Microsoft lacks is a very strong first party presence. That's just my opinion. I don't speak for anybody else. I constantly said this. It's like, I think Microsoft needs to do better in that area.
Do you know why I don't care about first party as much as some people might? I've never really cared about Microsoft first party. I'm not a big Halo fan. I don't like racing games.
That's where me and you kind of differ, because I do love Halo.
I've always seen Xbox as a third party platform.
And a lot of people would agree with you. I mean, the 360 was kind of seen as this third party heaven, basically, right?
But at the same time, third party games either had exclusive DLC or they just ran better on the Xbox, because PlayStation 3 had this like weird architecture. Like Fallout 3 was totally broken on the PlayStation 3 to the point where they didn't even bother doing the DLC for it. And then you had exclusives like Mass Effect that were just exclusive just because. And there was a bunch of games that were just, they either ran better or they had exclusive stuff on Xbox, and I just never felt the need to get a PlayStation. But Sony started building up that first party towards the end of last gen. They're really paying off now.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like long-term business plans. Like Sony, they fumbled beginning of PlayStation 3. They relied a lot on the third-party stuff for their dominance in PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 era. And they had to make a change, and they really focused on growing their first party. And yeah, it's paying dividends for them right now. I mean, they're dominating the console industry. Would I love a new, mature first party game for Microsoft? Of course. Something new. I mean, like, I love games. I love new games. Like Sea of Thieves, like, sure, like it's not my type of game. I wish it had more things to do in there, but I'm not gonna rag about it every single time I'm on a podcast or in a video. It came, it went. If you want to see my opinion on Sea of Thieves, it's literally in the video I did for the review. You know what I mean? So I'm just like more looking forward to the future, and like I wanted to see something like Quantum Break. Realistically, I know Remedy's not going to do it, but like something like Quantum Break, something like Rise, not specifically sequels to any of those games, but like those, like that kind of structure of a game. I don't know.
Well, you see
Uh,
that's the thing, Rand. It's like I'm too close to Xbox now. It's like I would when you ask me like what would I like to see, and it's because I'm too close to Xbox that actually there are those things that I never think of them. I would love to get a sequel to Quantum Break, but I just know because I'm too close to Xbox, I know it's never going to happen. And I know why it's never going to happen. I'd love
yeah,
to get a sequel to Rise. I know it's never going to happen.
I don't know.
But
Mikey
like I don't even
Barr
think of them.
definitely was teasing that the other day, huh? Huh?
No, that's the
He,
thing
he
though.
took that picture and he was like, I remember this guy. And it's like, of course, Mike, we all remember this dude. Like, yeah, you're gonna like, and you tweeted like, oh, start up your YouTubes and the blogs, right? Like,
But the reason Mike tweeted that out is because he was heavily involved with it. You know?
I know he signed
And
the game. He signed the
yeah.
game. He signed Quantum Break. He signed Scalebound. He signed Gears. You know, like yeah, I know. It's close to him. Shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. Sony's first party was building since PS2. Well, that's kind of when they started it, but like nobody really talks about Sony's first party back in the PS2 era. It was more towards
Sony was like Sony didn't have to try so hard in the PS2 era because they were just so dominant then.
yeah. They started really kind of getting into that in the PS3 era. Now another thing I want to thing I want to see. Who knows if it will, but like Daryl Gallagher, he joined the Microsoft Studios executive leadership team, Jez.
Yes.
And they said
That's the kind of thing that I like. That's the kind of thing I want to see. More
right,
of
but
that.
Matt Booty said they're going to have more to share at E3. Now, I made a video speculating that to me, with his previous job experience of running Crystal Dynamics for a long time, of running all the games basically at Square Enix's, all their Western games, so like the Hitmans, the Deus Exes, the Rise of the Tomb Raiders and such, he was very hands-on with that stuff. And with him running product development at Activision before coming to Xbox, and he's joining the Microsoft Studios executive leadership team, which each person on that leadership team runs their own studio. And Shannon Loftus runs global publishing, which deals in like their use of second parties that use Microsoft owned IP to make games like State of Decay and Crackdown and things like that. It sounds like Microsoft is going to announce a studio, a brand new studio or an existing studio, and put him in charge of it. I mean, to me,
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
With his pedigree and the people on that leadership team, it makes sense. And it, like you said, you wanted to see a studio acquisition, right?
Yep.
And Phil's talked about building first party, which they've hired. Sea of Thieves and Rare. They used to be 100 people, now they're 200, correct? So they're building that studio out. The Coalition's hiring. I heard 343's hiring. So they seem to be hiring more people for their first parties. But people want to see the studio acquisition, and maybe this is it. Do they bring in Playground and put Daryl Gallagher in charge of Playground and the Fable game? Or is it something different? I don't know. There might be something going on there.
I'd love that. That's. I mean, I hope so, and I hope there's more hires to come. I'd love to see them acquire some really quality independent second-party studios. 4A Games, for example. And I. The thing is, again, I know that the reasons why some of these things can't happen. Sometimes studios just value their independence. 4A Games, who make the Metro series, they're one of my favorite devs. I love the Metro games so much. They're so atmospheric, and I just love them. I just love Metro so much, and I'm so excited for the next game. And that studio has been through hell. They basically fled war-torn Ukraine and moved to Malta, I believe, and they basically upended their whole operation, and now they're bouncing back and they're making this game, and they've got a marketing deal with Microsoft and stuff. I'd love to see a studio like that join Microsoft, or even Remedy or Crytek, or and just bulldoze Remedy with cash and just give us Quantum Break 2. But I know it's never going to happen, so I don't even think to speculate on that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just I would love to see a Rise 2, a Quantum Break 2. Those are games that I enjoyed, and I think
I love Quantum
a
Break.
sequel could improve upon a lot of the aspects the originals have. Sunset Overdrive 2 would be fantastic.
I think that's the thing, right? That's the thing that I think Microsoft has really dropped the ball on in their first party is the whole idea that the sequel improves upon the original. Like, look at the difference between Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 1. Look at the difference in quality between Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 1. And there are people out there who say Mass Effect 1 has a better story, blah blah blah. But just look at the engine. You know, Mass Effect 1 was this laggy, clunky, buggy mess, frankly. And then Mass Effect 2 is like, at the time, was like the best use of the Unreal Engine. You know, it was stunningly beautiful, super tight controls, and all this sort of stuff. And because it built on what happened, the feedback they got from the first game and the reviews and stuff, and they read it, and it was like, oh, okay, so these are the things we need to improve in the sequel, blah blah blah. And they could have done that with Quantum Break. They could have done that with Rise. And Rise was retrofitted from being a Kinect game. So you have to wonder, like, what kind of quality would Rise achieve if it wasn't originally a Kinect game? So,
hey, Miso Newbie has a good pitch for Quantum Break. He says, just pitch him Quantum Break Battle Royale. There you go.
like you slow down time, and then 100 players slow down too.
Shout out to the Ravenflow for another super chat. It says, Rand, look up Gran Turismo and God of War sales PS2 era. Yeah, I know. Gran Turismo was pretty big, and so was God of War, and it continues on. But I would still say that not a lot of people were talking about Sony's first party until Naughty Dog kind of took off. But
there was no console war in the PS2 era. Like, I remember when I was a kid, and people used to. I don't feel like anyone was arguing about console wars back then. Like, PlayStation was totally dominant. Nobody was. I don't remember anyone at school trying to argue that the GameCube was better than PlayStation 2. There was no console. There was, at least not in the UK.
I mean that's kind of when the console war got going. You had granted the PlayStation 2 was dominant, but you had PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Like, that was like, and the Dreamcast essentially. I mean,
Xbox didn't even.
No. I mean, okay. Xbox, GameCube, and Dreamcast didn't compete like the PS2 competed. I mean, the Dreamcast failed, but I distinctly remember, the console war going on. Who had the better exclusives and all that? Like, that was, it's been going on since basically Nintendo and Genesis days. Like, when Sega would have put out the ads, like, Genesis does what Nintendo does and stuff.
Like then, when Sega was in the game, I remember Sega and Nintendo, but when PlayStation 2 came around, it just feels like that was it. It was done. Xbox and GameCube didn't even have a foothold in the UK. I don't know anyone who owned those consoles when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Maybe I was too young to remember, but I remember arguing about whether Mega Drive is better than Super Nintendo, but I don't remember anyone arguing the PS2 wasn't the best. Everyone just felt PS2 was the best. I don't know.
Either way, one last topic I want to discuss before we get out of here is the Phil Spencer quote. Like, I wanted to get your reaction to this, Jez, because I haven't talked about you with this. So, like, Ryan McCaffrey put out a tweet where, this was 6 days ago now, because God of War, that's when the reviews were coming out for God of War and how everybody's calling it a masterpiece. And he was saying that it took Sony 10 years to get to that point where the first party was firing on all cylinders, and that Xbox gamers not only want to celebrate a masterpiece level exclusive, but are dying, in all caps, see what you're doing there, Ryan, clickbait, dying to celebrate a masterpiece level exclusive like God of War. And Phil responded to him, which I don't know if he should have. People take his response as a PR thing or damage control, but like, in my time talking to and knowing Phil Spencer, like, he doesn't really do that type of stuff. But Phil said the hardware took time, the service platform back compat took time, and continuing to grow his first party will take time. A high quality and diverse first party with single player built the right way is their goal and what their consumers deserve. We can have similar results to what we've seen in hardware and platform. Now, he basically came out and said, listen, we want to build those things, but give us time. Are you cool with that statement?
Yeah, I am. And again, you know, it's just because I'm accepting of the business reality thing. These things take time, and Microsoft have been struggling through it. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's? I mean, what can they do? They can't just magic a God of War overnight.
No, but like a consumer who just bought your product for $500 or $300, like they don't want to hear those type of games are coming and just give us time. Like most people have no clue about the business aspects or what actually goes on. They only like I have system, give me game. You know, and I'm like they don't
There's
know
loads
that.
of games on Xbox.
Right, true, there are, but the argument is the exclusives define the console because if
I
Xbox didn't
disagree.
well, it's true to a certain regard because what why choose PlayStation over Xbox or Xbox over PlayStation or Xbox over Nintendo? The vast majority of the library is available on both. So the reasons you would choose one or the other is because one, my friends play on that system and that's what I'm going to get, or two, it has all these other games which I can get too. God of War, Last of Us, or the Halos and the Gears of Wars. I mean, that's what people bragged about. That's what people talked about forever. It's like you're at Xbox because your friends are on Xbox and because you love Halo, you love Gears of War, you love Forza. You're on PlayStation because your friends are on PlayStation and you like Uncharted and those other games. Like, considering all the third parties are in between both systems, that's kind of the defining choice there. Unless you disagree about with that.
Well, first of all, the vast majority of people aren't reading that tweet. So really, what you're commenting on is the sentiment, you know. And Phil's, like you say, Phil you could say is damage controlling, but Phil doesn't really do that. He's just being brutally honest that those things do take time, and they are going to take time, and they do want to get to a place where first party is dominant. Frankly, they want to get to that place, but it's going to take a long time. And why do people play Xbox today? Is because of the goodwill they built up during the 360 era. You know, like I had a PlayStation 3 and I sold it because PSN was terrible in the UK. I don't know what it was like in America, but it was just it was slow. Updates used to take like 40 minutes a pop, and I was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm not putting up with this, and I just got rid of it. And also things like Fallout 3 didn't work properly. Sky like the Bethesda's engine just didn't work on PlayStation. So Xbox pretty much locked me in during the 360 era, and I suspect that's true for a lot of people. You know, and I know that it is true for a lot of people because a lot of people on Xbox Live are still on the 360, subscribing on their 360. God knows why, but that's just the way things are. So
Right, but I mean, granted, I guess you can make the argument. Not a lot of people on Twitter, so they wouldn't even see Phil Spencer's response or know who Phil Spencer is, right?
yeah,
But like he, like I get the business logistics just as well as you do. You do. Like I know the same kind of thing. I know like what happened. But even still, if you look at the tweet from just perspective of like, here's God of War, and here's the head of the other company being like, we want to do that too, but it's going to take time. And it's like, well, why would I get Xbox now if this is going to take time? I'll just wait for it to come out eventually. You know, like I don't know, like telling potential.
Phil wouldn't argue with that though. He'd just
No,
say
I know he
fair
wouldn't.
enough. He'd just say fair enough.
I know he wouldn't. And but like there's this little kind of like I just find it was a little weird, basically telling people who bought your consoles, like, just give us more time. Like, we are 5 years into the generation at this point. You've been in the video game business since 2001, 2000. How much time do you need? This is me saying this like just as somebody who had no like clue about what's really going on. It's like you've been doing it for 18 years. How much time do you need? You're in this generation for 5 years. How much time do you need? And I understand games take time. You understand games take time. I know what happened behind the scenes. You know what happened, but not everybody does. So it's like you look at that and they're like, wow, well, okay, well, whenever you decide to, finish those games is when I'll decide to buy the system, right? I
And
don't know.
Mike, Phil would agree with that. He'd say, if you're not happy with what we're doing now, come and check us out in a few years. And I remember Phil used to say that when people said, why should I buy an Xbox when it's not 1080p like PlayStation? It would be like, yeah, fair enough. There's nothing that can really say to that. If you want mature games like The Last of Us and God of War, Xbox ain't the place to be. It's just a fact. Like my sister, for example, she sold her Xbox because she wanted Japanese games. Near Automata broke her, and Bloodborne and stuff like that. She wanted those games, and Xbox wasn't delivering them. And she just left, sold her Xbox, and that's it. Left Xbox and probably never come back. You know.
Yeah.
So,
but then again, this is Twitter. This is an echo chamber. People think they're more important than they really are, when in reality, like, we just account for not even like 0.0%. You know what I mean? There's 80 million PlayStation sold out there. There's probably thousands of them on Twitter. 40 million Xboxes, a couple thousand maybe.
There's 100 million people on Twitter total, I think, and about half of those are bots. So
I mean, so yeah,
maybe more than half. So
it look there. Yeah. Well, anyways, shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. Thank goodness it took them 16 years to understand. Like, I get that. Like, it's been, I mean, it's like Xbox has been around for a long time. Like, it's I don't know.
Every console has its pros and cons. Like someone in chat just said, Xbox kills Sony at racing games, and that's you could argue that's true. And if you are a fan of racing games,
the Gran Turismo fans would disagree with you on that one there, Jez. But
well, they'd be wrong.
They are wrong, because Forza Horizon is the best racing series ever.
Well, yeah. If you want to be on race, and if you're a racing fan, you're on Xbox. But if you're a Japanese gaming fan and you want Nier Automata and Persona and stuff like that, you're on PlayStation. Every console has its plus points and negatives. But I think God of War is a sore spot because Xbox built its name on violent games.
This is true. Yeah.
Fighting the Flood, smashing them into little bloody chunks, and Gears of War with the chainsaws, and now most of the recent big name Xbox games have been cartoony. Sea of Thieves is cartoony, and Super Lucky's Tale and Recall. It's like the tone of an Xbox exclusive has changed. So I can see why people feel betrayed.
Well, Ravenflow says, look at the PlayStation sales this month. I'm sure they're going to do really well because God of War is coming out and they have a custom pro. But then Ryan says, you're both wrong. Mario Kart is the best racing game. So there you go, Jez. Mario Kart.
Well, I'm a Wipeout fan, so I should be on PlayStation for that reason.
Yeah, but we're going to be ending the show soon. We're going to take a couple questions before we get out of here. I got to prep for God of War because we'll be playing that in less than 6 hours. I am so pumped to finally get my hands on God of War. I hope I really enjoy it. I don't want to like.
What if the media just lied and it's actually really bad?
The media lie? No. Nah, I mean, like, it seems like the type of game that I heavy emphasis on story, character, narrative. Seems like it really has some really good quality game. Like, I haven't read any review. I haven't watched any video besides the trailers for it. So I'm going into it blind. All I know is, like, hey, people think really highly of this game, and it comes out tonight.
Dude, I haven't even watched the trailers for God of War. When I buy that game, I'm buying it based on GIFs that I've seen posted on Twitter. The super violent GIFs, which look amazing. That's why I'm buying God of War.
Uncompetitive says, Rand, what Halo do you want Halo 6 to take after? Halo 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1? That's a good question. For story-wise, I would want them to take after Halo Reach because I felt Halo Reach had the best Halo story. Multiplayer-wise, I've always said Halo 2 is the best Halo multiplayer, and 5 would be second best. So they could go after 2 or 5. But thanks for the question. Like that, I just want Halo to be great both in multiplayer and in single player. ODSTX1X says, what kind of game would you like to see in a new IEP to round out the Microsoft's portfolio? A new IP, I would.
What kind of game?
What kind of new IP?
Well, it's got to be violent. It's got to be photorealistic. It's got to be Quantum Breaky and Risey. I'd love to see them make a hardcore melee orientated game like Rise. Because they got the shooter covered with Gears of War. They've got FPS covered with Halo. I'd also like to see Halo get more violent and dark for that.
I mean, I would love to see what 343 can do outside of Halo in a new IP, some form or fashion. I would love to see what the Coalition could do outside of Gears of War and that Shanghai's kind of stealth game. That'd be really cool. Jez mentioned like games like Rise and stuff, and I agree with that. But just kind of off the top, kind of just thinking about it right now, it popped in my head with the popularity of HQ trivia on like iPhones and stuff like that. And with them reintroducing the new avatar soon, how about a return of 1 versus 100 or some like live game show that is?
Well, you've got to presume, right? The reason they made the new avatars in Unity is because they're going to be integrated them with games. So
I know, but I'm just saying, like, have you seen how popular HQ trivia is right now?
No.
You don't even know what HQ trivia? Are you?
I don't know what it is.
It's a trivia game show that's on like 2 times a day where people like win money, like legit money. Like and it's just trivia questions. I think it's from the guys who started Vine originally, so there's a whole bunch of money involved into it.
Nice.
Just it's like blowing up. Like all my friends talk about it, everybody plays it.
What is it on PC or browser or what? Mobile game?
I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. But like I would love to see because 1 versus 100 was amazing. Yeah, there's other games we talked about I would love to see too, but like God, with the new avatars, with the rise of trivia, that type of stuff, having like a live game show on Xbox Live, oh man, that would be so cool.
It's gonna happen, with Mixer and the new avatars and the career system and stuff like that. Microsoft are building up to something with that in mind, so stay tuned.
Let's see.
Get a couple more questions and then I've got to bail because my girlfriend's really angry at me because I told her we'd only be an hour and we've been 2.
Oh. Gunstar wants to know, should Phil and the rest of Xbox lead team stop being so congratulatory every time Sony releases a good game?
No. I mean, why? Yeah, I mean, do you want them to be robots? I really hate this argument that people think that like they shouldn't be congratulating those guys on a job well done because it's just bad form. I mean, what about sportsmanship? Stuff like that.
I have no issue with them congratulating Sony or Nintendo. I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me in the slightest because I know exactly how Phil and Mike feel. Like,
they're gamers.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't bother me like at whatsoever. Like, they're all friends with all those companies. They all talk to each other. They're all happy. Like, they want the video game industry to thrive. Like,
they're also all filthy rich and think this whole console was ridiculous.
Well, Phil hates the console war. Yeah. No, he hates toxic fanboys. Like, he hates that stuff. And if you saw his mentions when he said that, yeah, it was pretty bad. But no, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. Them congratulating God of War on Twitter is not going to prevent them from doing what they're going to do, even if you don't agree with it. Face wants to know if you're going to play God of War on the Slim or a Pro. Have you decided what system you're going to get?
Right. I'm decided that I'm going to get a Slim.
A Slim?
I am, because for 2 reasons. A, I live in a single room, and I don't have much space. And B, I watched some comparison videos, and I know comparison videos aren't the best place, but the original PlayStation 4 is still really great and powerful, and native 1080p is like just fine. I don't think it's going to impact my experience too much. And the thing is, Rand, I have a capture card plugged in most of the time because I stream every day. So my Xbox One X outputs in 1080p most of the time anyway. So
right.
I don't know. But I'm going to get... I will say that if they announce a PS4 Pro Slim, I will probably upgrade to that. But it's so chunky. It's just too chunky.
All right, this is the last question we'll take. Ryan Landis says, do you think there are any Xbox first-party AAA games that started development after 2015? Well, I mean, I guess Halo 6 would be considered AAA, and that definitely started after 2015. Gears of War 5, the Forza Horizon games. I know maybe that's not exactly what you wanted to hear, but those are the answer to your question. Like, we'll have to wait and see if the rumored Gears spinoff or the rumored Halo spinoff, or if those are AAA or not, or if they have any other second party deals like Recore waiting in the rings that are, well, that you said first party. Well, here's the thing about Microsoft first party. It's very apparent what we're going to get. 343 makes Halo, Turn 10 makes Forza, Mojang makes Minecraft, Coalition makes Gears, and Rare makes Sea of Thieves. I guess it's possible they're prototyping some AAA game in Rare, but right, Jez? I mean, that's pretty much it, right?
I don't think they are prototyping AAA game right now. The whole studio set up for continuous delivery. So, like, continuous delivery is an engineering method that Rare's using for Sea of Thieves, where, like, every part of the studio is sort of connected via these giant screens, which basically say, like, this part of the build's finished, this part of the build's finished, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't think they're even set up to do anything but Sea of Thieves. So,
right.
That's what I've heard. Well, that's what I've seen. I've been to Rare.
So that'll be it for the show today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know we had like 520 people. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit that like button. If you hated the show, make sure you hit that dislike button.
Rand will be sad though.
I'll be sad. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the likes and dislikes on my God of War review video, but they're pretty funny. If you are new to the channel, if you like the podcast, like to see more content that I put out, make sure you subscribe. If you want to listen to the podcast, not on YouTube, but in, a more friendlier form, it is up every like Friday or 2 days after we do the podcast here on YouTube. It'll be up on iTunes, SoundCloud, all that stuff. The links are always in the description of the video to all those things, including my social media and my my Xbox gamer tag, my PSN stuff, my Switch friend code, as well as the link to Jez's Twitter where he lives his life one tweet at a time.
I think I use Twitter too much. Should I cut down?
Nah. Well, what do you got going on for the rest of the week, Jez?
Okay, well, as I mentioned earlier, I've got a little exclusive for Xbox publishing on Windows Central tomorrow, probably around peak hours, about midday Eastern. So look out for that. It's not huge, but if you're interested in the platform, you might enjoy it.
Would I be interested in it?
I don't know.
Is it about achievements?
Yeah, potentially, maybe.
Oh well, then I'm interested. Let's do it.
Actually, it is about achievements.
There we go. So let's do it.
So there's that. The rest of the week, I'm going to be doing the new boss in Monster Hunter because it's amazing, and playing more Monster Hunter because it's amazing. And no game that comes out this year is going to be as good as Monster Hunter. That's me.
All right. So follow Jez. He's gonna have a big story tomorrow. I'm sure everybody make videos, including myself. I'll be playing God of War starting tonight at 11 p.m. I'm going to try to get through it as fast as I can. Hopefully, it might even be my first platinum. Look for a review for Doom when I finish that up. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Xbox 2. As always, I'm Randall Thor 19 with Jez Corden. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week. Later, guys.
Take care, everybody.